the woman can't remember what she's doing except that something startled her and she stood by the door of a room looking towards the back of the house where her parents had a bedroom. She noticed a very large bed, all lit up by a very big white light. The room was full of white light, and she said it was beautiful. Wow, what a pretty dream. Then she saw her mother walking towards her with a big smile. The mother held her hand and continued walking towards the front door. Hi, welcome to Dream Dowsing. I am your host, Kim, and my other host is Margarita. Welcome very much. We're happy to have you back here with us, where we like to talk about dreams and use the pendulum to try and understand if we're interpreting the dream in the right way. So obviously we're using intuition on both of our parts, as well as I'm using some dream interpretation books and online to get some meanings behind the symbols. They are suggested meanings because meanings can differ from person to person. And Margarita is using her pendulum. And oh, you got the big guy today. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful pendulum. So briefly, can you explain, and we do, if you are like totally new to this, so your first time here and you don't understand, we have our original video, our original podcast we did here on YouTube, and you can go find that and go into greater detail about what the pendulum does, how it works. Same with the dream interpretation. But can you briefly tell us what that does for you? It's a beautiful tool.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I have several. This is what is called the gold DNA spiral, and it's very connected, like all the pendulums, to the subtle energies, things that we cannot see. So it's just, and everything is frequency. So it's just connecting and making sure it's connected to a frequency. That's pretty much what it is. So as you interpret the dreams, then the pendulum is going to move, kind of agree with what you are saying. And if at any point there's a question, it might move counterclockwise, or if not agreeing for some reason and we need to change your interpretation, you need to say, oh, let me check. Then it might move to no. So you say yes this way, no, and then a counterclockwise. And by the way, this is about, oh, I can't remember the length. It's about 6 inches, but it does weigh about 3.5 ounces. So I'm going to use my chair to make sure that I keep my hands, not moving. But it's still in my move, just it depends the speed and the vortex of the pendulum with whatever you are saying.
Okay, yeah. So that pendulum, it does go in a circular motion if it's kind of processing, thinking, and then it goes side to side, like parallel to your body if it's not really correct, and it goes perpendicular to your body for yes.
You just explain things better than I do, Kim.
Just gotta do the math thing. So mathematical.
Love it. Thank you.
All right, so now this dream, sometimes I have the dreams kind of memorized because they're short. This dream is a little more complicated. So I'm going to read this to you. And then a lot of the symbols, I know what they mean because I've been doing this for a while. And so I know what, like what a house is and stuff like that. So, but other times I have to look things up. And so when I do look them up, I use an online source called the Dream Bible, and I'll include that link in the show notes. And then I sometimes use a book called Dream Dictionary by Kevin Tedeschi, and I will include that link there for you too as well, so you can look these up yourself. And then ultimately it is about the interpretation of the dream too. It's not just reading the symbols. You still have to kind of get the gist of it. And that's what we're doing here today. So this is a dream about a woman whose mother passed away in 2009. And she doesn't dream about her mother on a regular basis. So it was an unusual dream. And the dream was so profound, she said it woke her up. So the dream happened at the house that the family had lived in. They grew up. So I guess she doesn't live there anymore, but this was a house that they grew up in. It was a 2-level building with 2 separate homes and separate entrances. So her family lived on the 2nd floor, but the dream house was only 1 level. And she said there were a lot of people in the house, maybe a party because everyone was happy and smiling. That's nice. That's a nice dream. Mm-hmm. the woman can't remember what she's doing except that something startled her and she stood by the door of a room looking towards the back of the house where her parents had a bedroom. She noticed a very large bed, all lit up by a very big white light. The room was full of white light, and she said it was beautiful. Wow, what a pretty dream. Then she saw her mother walking towards her with a big smile. The mother held her hand and continued walking towards the front door. There was a room with a bed just before the front door of the house. So they're moving from the back of the house to the front of the house, it sounds like. Um, the mother closed her eyes when she got to the bed, and the dreamer held her so she wouldn't fall, and she carefully placed her mother on the bed. Wow, that's a neat dream. Okay, so um, beds generally represent. We start with a house. The house is like the whole sense of where you are. It's your whole mindset is your house. A bed represents something in your life that you have become comfortable with. It can be negative. It could also be positive, but something that you just are in. You're not trying to change anything. You're just accepting it or resigning yourself to it, depending upon the the emotion behind it, the real emotion behind it. She said that in real life it was a two-story building, but in this one it was just a single-story building. Um, I
Mm-mm.
think no, I got that wrong. Let me see.
Yeah,
It says
I believe it was still a two-story building,
it's
and the two-story there was the first and second,
right,
but the dream actually happened on the first floor or the first level of the building,
right. Okay,
though they were living in the second. Yeah, so they
okay.
lived in the second, but the dream actually happened on the
On the
first. So
first
it's
floor.
still a
Okay,
two-story building. Okay.
okay. All right. So, so the home represents her her like mental construct, what she's thinking about. It's kind of where she is. It's your home. It's where everything takes place for you as a person, not just physically that you go live there, but it's also in dreams. It represents where you are in your head too. So this was on the first level. So when you're going up different levels in a house, it generally represents a different level of consciousness. So
Mhm.
this is I'm not it's not that it's the lower level of consciousness, it's more like it's consciousness. It's not a higher consciousness, it's not a subconscious, it's just your consciousness. Um and so there was a party. A party represents a coming together of people, coming together of minds, uh, like everybody's kind of on the same page, working together or collaborating. So I didn't, while I was reading the first part, I was not looking at the pendulum. So how are we doing on that?
Yeah, so far what you're saying is correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. So everyone's happy and smiling. That's good. It's very positive collaboration, very positive coming together of energy. And then she said something pulled her attention to the back of the house. So kind of like could be representing the back of her mind, something she hasn't thought about in a while, maybe. But something is drawing her to something, a memory or something from the past, something that she's kind of put towards the back. And the pendulum is going in circles right now. So
Yeah,
it's
it's like thinking about if what you are saying is correct. So it must
okay.
come back with a yes or no.
Okay. Let's see what it does.
So something in the back of her mind is what you are saying.
Yeah, something that maybe you're in your
Oh,
mind or
there.
your life has just kind of been put on the back burner there.
Okay, there.
Not gone, just back. Um, and so she went back to pay attention to that, to this thing that maybe she hasn't been thinking about so much. And there's a bedroom there, a room in the house, and the bed, this thing that is meant to be kind of a thing that you're kind of resigning yourself with a bed. You're not really trying to change anything, but this bedroom was full of light. So, and this bed was full of light. So here's something that she hasn't been thinking about very much, and all of a sudden a light is shining on it. It's being brought to her full attention in a big and beautiful way, and something that she is kind of resigned about is coming to her attention in a big and beautiful way as well. And then she sees her mom. And whenever you have a dream with a person in it, it is often it can be a visitation, and you'll know those dreams because they feel so real. And usually there's even
Oh,
a comment like, hey, where have you been, how are you doing, you have these things, and you can feel this deep desire to connect with the other person. It's so powerful. I don't see this from her that this is what she was saying, just but that her mom was coming, her mom was smiling. And so in this case, um, the mom can represent your intuition, your higher self that's coming through. So that's what a mother can be. So it can be a real dream about the mother. We'll get this all put together towards the end, but it can also represent intuition. Often, mother represents a higher level of understanding because they have that higher level. So the mother's smiling. That's very positive. It's a very positive confrontation with her intuition. And the mom is holding her hand and walking her towards the front door, towards the front of the house. So um, the front of the house would be more like where you are in your head now, more about the things that you're thinking about now, things that are front of mind. That's that exact expression, top of mind or front of mind. This is where she's going from reaching back to get something older or in the past, and she's bringing it towards the front to where she can ponder it a little bit more. There's also a bed there, which is interesting. And so the mother closes her eyes and gets back into the bed, and the sister helps her get back into the bed. So this one's a complicated dream. So the same thing though. There's still a bed at the front of the house, so still a part where you're being resigning. So my feeling on this dream is that the dreamer is reaching back in her mind to something that maybe she hasn't been paying attention to very much, or she just hasn't even tapped into it, because I'm sensing that what this dream means is that she's getting in touch with her own intuitive abilities, that she has not really explored that either before or in a long time, because it's way in the back. We all have intuitive abilities. We all do. But sometimes we don't know to use them. We don't know how. It scares us. We've just never tapped into it. And I'm thinking that that is what this dream is about, is that this is something she either has never tapped into before, or it's something she's tapped into maybe when she was younger and has put it away. And so now she's coming forward, and intuition's coming with her and holding her hand. I mean, how beautiful is that? That I'm going to hold your hand. Intuition's going to be there with her and come up towards more of the front of the house. Now, they stop before they go out the door. There's a bedroom, and uh, it's kind of an interesting reversal here where the dreamer is holding her mother. She's holding intuition and placing intuition in a place where it doesn't sound like the dreamer is necessarily ready to go out and start being openly intuitive or exploring spirituality maybe in a more big way outside, but inside her mind and her privacy of who she is ready to start taking care of that and tending to that. That's kind of my interpretation, but your pendulum is spinning, so let's see what your pendulum
yeah.
says.
Well, it is when you were talking about her intuition and coming to terms with it, it was just like right on because he just moved fairly strong yes,
Mm-hmm.
So the pendulum sometimes when the answer is just really accurate, it's like, yeah, so it moves a lot. It's actually moving again because he's saying you're right, Margarita.
Yeah, well, I think it's listening. Yeah, it's
You
listening,
could see
hearing
it.
you. Yeah.
So so yeah, you are right on, Kim. Yeah.
Okay.
About the intuition and that's what it really represents. And I'm coming to terms with it,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
maybe not quite ready
Host a
to express
podcast.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to come host a podcast and talk about all this stuff, but just start exploring it, and it's a really beautiful thing. It's like intuition is saying, "I'm here, I'm here." I mean, it's time to move me forward now, or into the front of where you are. And the dreamer is saying, like, "Yes, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to start nurturing this
Yeah.
and working on it." So,
Yeah. And I do remember you mentioning that the dreamer was very, very happy. And you have also said, I mean, the
yes, she
dream makes
said
her
that.
happy. And you have also said that the feeling is very important, how the dream makes you feel.
Very, yes. Because you could interpret it something very negative if you came off of this feeling very upset, if there was some trauma with the mother, that it could be an entirely different interpretation. But yes, she did indicate that this dream made her really happy. And I mean, I could see why. It's a beautiful, beautiful dream,
Mm,
very pretty dream, it sounds like. And so it just seems like she is ready to start touching on this area of her life that she maybe hasn't considered before.
mm,
And taking good care of it and taking good care of herself in essence too by doing that.
mm. Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
disagreeing with you.
Okay. All
So you're
right. Thank you.
usually, I mean, really very accurate with this, so doesn't
Well,
surprise me. So,
well,
but
thanks.
you never know.
No, you don't. You don't ever know.
I would like to
Um,
get one, but it doesn't agree with you completely. It's like, oh.
no. Yeah. I think when we've done it in the past, you'd be like, no, that's not right. But what's interesting about that whole dream is that like when I was 12 or 13, I was starting to have dreams that were showing up coming true from whatever I dreamed that night. It could have been the simplest little thing. Somewhere like a little small plane crash, and then I would find out in the news that day that there was a small plane crash near me. There was an airport not too far away. Um, and then other dreams were like I dreamed that we're having cupcakes, and then I woke up in the morning, there's no cupcakes. But then when I got to school, like, oh, somebody brought cupcakes. Oh, wow. So little things like that. And then I started to notice a pattern, and I decided that this was wrong, and I was uncomfortable with it. I think it had to do with my religious
Mm,
upbringing. I went to religious school, and I just think I felt like somehow this was bad. And so I remember standing in my bedroom and saying out loud, I don't want this. I don't want this anymore. And guess what? It went away. And so now, as an adult, once I started kind of exploring things again, I think like when I was 18, and then kind of comes and goes because life, you get busy. But man, what if I'd stayed on that path from the time I was 13? Could have been probably pretty interesting. But here I am now trying to figure things out again. And but I'm saying the reason why I'm bringing that up is because possibly your dreamer may have had experiences when she was younger and then just put it away, not like in a garage, not so far away. Like when we talked about other dreams, the garage is a place you put stuff basically to forget about it. That's not where it was. It's still in the house, it's still
mm,
in her. And I thought it was a beautiful dream. That was really neat. And maybe this is just, she's just a late bloomer like me, and she's just deciding, like,
mm.
yeah, I can start exploring this now. It's pretty neat. So, what did you think about it?
Well, no, I
What are your
agree. I mean,
thoughts?
you are the queen of interpreting dreams, and I just use a
So,
tool that
mhm.
is catching those, what you are saying. So
Yeah,
it's actually a fantastic tool for a lot of different things.
yeah, it,
So
it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I trust it very much. So I
Do you feel like for you, for your intuition, your abilities, that you started experiencing things when you were younger and stayed with it, or did you take a long break like I did?
well, I grew up in Latin America, so we are more open to subtle energies.
Mm,
So it's somehow something that we just don't look at it as being something unusual. People talk about it. I used to be afraid when I was little, hearing stories from the
yeah.
adults. But so it is accepted. I would say it's not something that people, unlike here, that everything has to be very scientific. We
Mm,
are more open to, I mean, we people seeing stuff or they experience it, they sense it. So once you see, I would say more with the heart, because that's kind of a quality that you have,
mm,
then it's a little different. So I don't recall me seeing anything, or I mean, I never really can say I have, but and but with the pendulum, I'm able to just stop. So it's actually, I call it's a great tool. I mean, it needs
mhm.
me to work, through that energy that is coming through, but it just shows me what I otherwise would not be able to see most of the time. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's neat, and you do have a nice collection of some really neat pendulums.
yeah. Well,
And
my primary focus is healing, so there's a couple of them that I really enjoy. It's very
yeah,
helpful. Well, you
yeah,
always have something to share about what you've been reading. I just want to hear what have you, if you have anything interesting going on this week that
yeah,
you've
no,
read. type of
Yeah.
mind.
I started rereading a book that I have put away a couple times because it's complicated,
Mm.
and it's by John Van Auken from the Edgar Casey Association, the ARE, and it's called Angels, Fairies, and Demons. And I have
Mm.
tried to read it, and it's got a lot of quotes from Edgar Casey directly when he was in trance. And if you don't know who Edgar Casey is, he was a man. They called him the sleeping prophet. He worked, I think, up until the 1940s when he died. And he was just a kind of like a country guy, limited education, nice man, and discovered that when he was asleep, people could guide him through trance, and he would travel to the Akashic records and be able to retrieve information, a lot of healing information on people, um, medical cures that just were not anything he could have possibly known, not at all. Very unusual things that he would say, like you need the bark of a peach tree. I mean, things like that that just the average person wouldn't know. And then he would say things, and when he was interpreting things, it was in this very high, almost like antique language, like
Mm.
English, but old English. And so there's a lot of that in the book. It's kind of hard to understand, but I'm trying to get to the concept of it. And he was talking about where I did understand this part, where he was talking about how it's possible for things to exist in different levels. And so he used the example of water. So
Mm.
water here, as we can see it, is liquid, and then when it evaporates, it's still H2O. It's still water. It's steam now. And then it can exist in just a tiny molecular form where you can't see it at all because it's just that one molecule of H2O. It's still water. You just can't see it. And so trying to explain how the soul could exist on different planes and still be what it is. It just has different capabilities and abilities when it's in these different forms. So I thought it was just interesting. It's just something to think about, like, with the soul. And some people we talked about, they believe like when they die, that's it, you're out. There's nothing else. But that if you believe that your soul is energy, how could it be somewhere else? Where can it go? And you can't see it, but it could be right, right where you were before, but you just can't see it. Like if somebody I love dies, I can't see them anymore, but their energy is just maybe just this one molecule that's here now, or it's steam, or it can be, and I'm not saying that they turn into steam or to a molecule, but just that our soul can exist in different forms and have different properties such that it's still there. It's just that we can't see it or we can't pick up on it. But I thought that was just kind of an interesting concept.
Do you? I think it's also interesting because I've been studying yoga for a few years, and it's just very similar. So I'm always surprised, or not surprised, but kind of amazed how they are all kind of saying the same thing. I think we mentioned that before. The truth is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it doesn't, and of course, with the ages, the terms change. I mean, I remember where I used to work, one term will change like, oh my God, it's the same thing, but it's called different things. Just like a podcast, it was more like radio way back.
Yeah.
So, but because in your, it's kind of similar, that's when people talk about the chakras, and the chakras is where you store the energy, and it's your astral. So I'd say I don't want to call it dimension, but it's kind of the astral body, and same thing, it just carries on, and that's kind of where the soul, it just never dies. So it's
Mm-hmm.
all, they all have the same. So it's fascinating. Yeah, it's a really good. Yeah, it's hard to understand. You almost have to study it so much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and
It
John
is.
Van Aken, I think he's definitely. I do have a question because I know you mentioned Akashic Records, and I
Mhm.
probably heard about that. I have to say that only within the last maybe 5 years,
Yeah.
and it took me. I
We all
have to
have.
learn it. I'm always open. It's like, oh, how interesting. And but it's kind of the same thing that is being called. Like maybe in the Bible they also talk about the Book of Records. I feel like I
Mm.
have heard kind of a similar term before. What do you think, or what do you know actually?
I mean, yes, I didn't know about the Akashic Records my whole life. That's probably in the last 5 years for me, too, that I even was introduced to the concept of it. I don't know if it says it in the Bible, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the concept is just that there is this place, and it doesn't mean it's a physical place, but there is just this energetic space where everything we've ever said and done and thought and who we were is all recorded. And I mean, if you think about it from a God perspective, or if you want the universe perspective, that's huge. Of course, there's plenty of room to have all that there, and that we as a soul might have our record somewhere of who we are. And the value of that would be for growth, to be able to grow. And a lot of times when people talk about when they have a near death experience, or other people just talk about that when you die, that there's a review of your life. Well,
Mm.
what is that review? I mean, I think that we grow up believing like St. Peter was at the pearly gates of heaven and they do a review for you when you come in. Well, it's like it's a book. So I think that is the same concept. It's just that it is there. There is something there where you can review who you were and how you did things. And I think the concept is that the soul is there to think about these things. What worked, what didn't work. Um, what might I want to do next time to try and focus on that? Or I didn't learn that lesson very well. I got to go back and try and get a better understanding of that. So it does make sense to me that that would be part of growth, is part of growing as a soul, as a being, to try and become better, to become more perfect.
Yeah, I think it just reminded me of something you say recently when you and I were chatting over a cup of coffee. And it's almost like you need to behave in a way. You need to be good and be aware. I think we were talking about the food we eat, and you said even if we just realize what we are doing in life, just make sure that you make choices that are right. I don't
Hmm.
know if you remember you
Yeah,
saying that,
being
but I'm
mindful. Yeah, thinking about what you're
exactly.
doing. Yeah, yeah. And I think I know somebody. This is a quote, and I don't know what it's from, but it's the unexamined life is not worth living,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the point, is to sit around and think about it. And some people don't, and that's okay. Maybe next time, maybe later as you get older. Sometimes when people get older, that's when they have time to sit and think about it and assess what they've done and what they wish they'd done differently. But it's nice, it's ideal if you can do it as you're going along, because you can realize in seconds, like, well, that was not the best choice, or that I would have done that differently. And so you can go and apologize, you can redirect, you can do whatever. But I think it's nice if you can get to the finish line and realize I really did do everything I could to be as mindful as possible. But obviously, sometimes it's just really hard. We're just running so hard trying to keep up and live our lives and do our jobs and everything, and life gets chaotic. I totally understand that. So
Well, it just reminded me of, and I may have said this before, a rock that I purchased years and years ago. And I just love the phrase that someone pasted there. It said,
mm,
"We are here to love and grow."
I love it. It's true.
I love that. For me, it has some meaning and more,
Mm,
a lot of meaning. And it just like, that's exactly what I'm here for,
yeah.
love and grow. And we say God is love. I mean, everything always goes back to it. We don't touch love. Just like we talk about, frequencies. This is another pendulum, and it's a super ISIS 16. And it does the frequency of gold, which is again, it's kind of the higher frequency right now. And it's still, what is it? Is love.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I like that, because that pretty much is what it boils down to. You grow and you love people. And pretty much, I think anything you wanted to say, well, you're also here to do this or that, is going to line up into one of those categories.
Yeah.
So I like that. All right. Well, shall we wrap up things here?
Yeah, we choose
Okay.
right. Yeah, sounds
So
good.
just thank you for sticking with us and listening to this podcast. If you have a dream that you would like us to interpret, you could go to our website, dreamdowsing.com. There is a page on there where you can put in a dream that you had. You can submit it to us, and it asks you questions like, what do you remember from the dream and how did you feel about it? You can put as much information on there as you want, and we may choose that to interpret on one of our episodes, and that would be really fun to do that. We'd like to get other perspectives. Keep in mind, this is for entertainment only. And if you have something and you might feel like, well, that didn't really resonate with me. I mean, that is what ultimately has to do to be true, is that it has to resonate with you. And for those of you who are sitting there thinking, I'd love to submit a dream, but I don't have any, you do. It's just really important to set an intention before you go to bed at night. I want to remember my dreams. I want to remember my dreams. And then when you wake up in the morning, don't reach for your phone right away. Don't get out of bed and run across to like, oh my gosh, I'm late. Gotta go. I gotta be somewhere. Take a minute if you can to try and recall what your dream was. And if you just will remember one little thing, you might be surprised throughout the day. Something will flash into your mind. Oh, that was part of that dream. And just be open to it and keep telling yourself, I do remember my dreams. I'm good at remembering my dreams. And you'll start to remember them. But we'd love to get that from you. So, yeah, please. And also, if you enjoyed this episode, like our episode, you can hit the little thumbs up at the bottom here. You can also subscribe so you get notified when there's new episodes, and you can share this with other people. That would be really cool. So help us grow our community here. It's a real positive community where we're trying to be all uplifted and think of ways to love and to grow, as Margarita pointed out.
Yeah, yeah, and well, thank you. I mean, thank you, Kim, and thank you.
Thank
Just deepest
you.
gratitude to anybody who's taking time to listen to us. It's just fun. This is fun. It's kind of feel good. That's always our intention. Being able to help someone, whatever that may be, but all comes, from good, and just many blessings to everybody.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thanks, Margarita.
Thank you.
Bye.
Say goodbye.